Hello again, I'm Rodney Reynolds and welcome to another video review. Today I'm looking at the Ensemble 1200W power supply. What's included is the user's manual, adapter leads, 10 cable ties, power cord, 4 screws, and the power supply. The Ensemble line of power supplies is available in 1000 watts and 1200 watts. I will be reviewing the 1200 watt model, which is more than enough power for even the most hardcore computer systems. Now, how is this wattage determined? Well, to understand that, you need to know what rails are. Rails are basically well-regulated transformers which convert domestic current into the voltages that your computer system can use, and there are essentially two different rails, the 3.3/5 volt rail and the 12 volt rail. In this particular case, the approximate maximum peak output of the 3.3/5 volt rail is 200 watts and the 12 volt is 1080 watts, which is essentially how the wattage of this power supply is determined. The 3.3/5 volt rail is responsible for the motherboard, memory, PCI cards, and so on, while the 12 volt rail is responsible for the hard drives, optical drives, fans, CPU video cards, etc. Also, some might be interested to know the peak amps on each rail. Well, the plus 3.3 volt and the plus 5 volt rails are both 30 amps each. Unlike some power supplies that have one or two plus 12 volt rails, this product has 4. The plus 12 volt 1 and plus 12 volt 2 are 20 amps each. The plus 12 volt 3 and plus 12 volt 4 are 25 amps each. Please note that a single plus 12 volt rail tends to be preferred in a multiple video card setup. There are a couple of important things to remember when selecting a power supply. The first is wattage. Determine how much wattage you are going to require by the amount of hardware you will be installing. Generally speaking, a medium to high-end gaming rig will require a 500 to 700 watt power supply. If, however, you are going hardcore and have a multiple video card setup with lots of other hardware, select a power supply that's above 800 watts. Second, it should be at or above 80% efficient at typical load. The maximum efficiency of this power supply is 87%, but the average efficiency is 86%, and the minimum efficiency is 82.3%, but that's at 100% load. Third, it should meet the latest ATX and other current standards, environmental directives, overvoltage, undervoltage, and other protections. This power supply meets all current standards. Fourth, I'd recommend choosing a power supply that has APFC. APFC, or active power factor correction, is something that also assists the power supply in being more efficient and therefore stable under load. APFC basically reduces total harmonics, it corrects input voltage, and allows for full input voltage range. Thankfully, this power supply has APFC. Finally, get a power supply that has enough leads for your setup. I should also mention that this power supply uses Japanese capacitors, which results in cleaner, more reliable power than cheap capacitors found in many other power supplies. Let's have a closer look at this power supply. The housing is steel, and they include a very quiet 135mm fan, as well as an 80mm fan. Both of these fans are recessed, but this power supply is extremely long, so it might not fit in some mid-tower cases. Also note that these fans are load controlled, meaning the more load on the power supply, the faster the fan spins. These fans ensure maximum cooling, so the power supply will remain cool in almost any environment. It also has a nice feature. It's called a fan delay off feature. And what this does is, if the inside temperature is 50 degrees Celsius or higher when the system is turned off, the fans will remain spinning until that temperature goes below 50 degrees C. Here's the power cable connection and the power switch. This power supply has plenty of long leads, and they're all sleeved, which reduces the cable mess inside the case and will improve airflow. Modular leads would have been preferred, but considering this power supply is most comfortable in a full tower case, it's not crucial. Finally, have a listen. If you're in the market for an overclock system with lots of hardware and a multiple video card setup, you need a hardcore power supply. This power supply falls into that category. It performs exceptionally well. It's got long leads, so you have no problem reaching all the hardware, even in a full-size tower case. And this power supply is really, really efficient at typical load. This is a 100% kick-ass product. Until next time, take care. On each rail. Well, the 3.3 volt and the 5 volt. I'm trying to speak, you know. You got to say it nice and smooth. You cannot pause. You cannot break. You got to sound good, yeah. 7%, but the average efficiency. I can say efficiency. The power supply itself is, though, expensive, and that's to be expensive. That is to be expensive in the change whatsoever. And this is a fairly overclocked and, oh my gosh. If you're looking at getting an overclocked system with lots of hardware and a multiple If you're looking at getting an overclocked system with lots of hardware and a multiple video